Last weekend, an unforgettable event took place in São Paulo that will stay with everyone who experienced it. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation, a palpable excitement that enveloped the crowd even before the event began. The streets were overflowing, social media was buzzing, and thousands of people were heading in the same direction, drawn by a shared energy. Bad Bunny was making his debut in Brazil, and the entire city was aware of it. It wasn't just the fans or music enthusiasts. Everyone felt the impact. Street vendors, taxi drivers, hotel staff, and restaurant owners were all swept up in the excitement of something that transcended a mere concert. This was a significant moment, and São Paulo was poised to embrace it as if it had been waiting for this opportunity its entire life. Welcome to Pop Showroom, where we bring you the stories behind the headlines. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button right now because this story goes deeper than anything you've seen in the mainstream media. Bad Bunny, the Puerto Rican artist who turned the entire music world upside down and never apologized for it, took the stage on 2 consecutive nights that shook the ground beneath the crowd's feet. This was not just another stop on a world tour. This was history. The first time he ever performed in Brazil. The man who Spotify named their 2025 Global Top Artist showed up to a country that had been streaming his music on repeat, singing his lyrics in a language many of them had to learn just to get closer to what he was saying, and he gave them everything. But here is the thing that made this weekend truly different from any other concert experience you have ever heard about. Spotify was not just going to let this moment pass with a few posts and a playlist update. They had something else in mind entirely, and what they built in that city before the first note was even played is what people are still talking about days later. Spotify unveiled an immersive experience called the Puerto Rico pal Mundo, which translates to From Puerto Rico to the World, and that title alone tells you everything you need to know about the intention behind it. This was not a pop-up booth with some photos and a QR code. This was a full universe, carefully constructed, room by room, space by space, to pull you out of São Paulo and drop you directly into the heart of Bad Bunny's 2025 album, DeBÍ TiRAR MáS FOToS. The album itself was already one of the most talked about projects of the year, a deeply personal record rooted in Puerto Rican identity, nostalgia, cultural pride, and the kind of emotional storytelling that makes you feel like someone reached into your chest and pulled out something you did not even know was sitting there. Spotify took all of that and made it something you could walk through, something you could touch, see, hear, and feel in every corner of your body. Fans, creators, and press were all invited to explore this physical interpretation of the album's themes, and the word explore is exactly right, because that is what it felt like. Not a tour, not a guided walk, but a genuine exploration, where every room you stepped into was a new discovery. The design team behind this experience did not cut corners. Every single space was meticulously thought out, every detail connected back to a specific part of the album's sonic and emotional journey. You walked in, and the outside world disappeared. São Paulo disappeared. Your phone notifications disappeared. All that existed was this world that Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, the man the whole planet knows as Bad Bunny, had poured himself into, now made physical and real and breathing around you. People who went through it described feeling something they were not expecting. They said it was not just cool visuals or good lighting, though those things were absolutely there. They said it hit different because it felt sincere, because the album itself is sincere. DeBÍ TiRAR MáS FOToS is not a commercial project designed to chase trends or top charts for the sake of topping charts. It is a love letter, a complicated, proud, sometimes painful love letter to Puerto Rico, to the streets that raised him, to the culture that built him, to the people who are still there living that life while the world watches from the outside. When you walked through the experience Spotify built, you felt that love letter in 3 dimensions. You felt the weight of it. And the way the crowd responded told you everything. These were Brazilian fans who had been listening to this Puerto Rican artist sing in Spanish about an island they have never visited, and yet every single one of them connected. Every single one of them got it. Because that is the thing about real music and real culture. It doesn't need a passport. It doesn't need a translator. When something comes from a genuine place, it travels. It crosses water and borders and language barriers and lands right in your chest the same way it would if you grew up on the same block as the artist who made it. That is the power of what Bad Bunny has built over these years, and this weekend in São Paulo was proof of it displayed on the largest possible stage. What made the experience even more electric was the community energy around it. This was not a corporate event that felt sterile and staged. People were hugging strangers, they were taking pictures together in front of installations and immediately showing each other the photos. Creators who had built entire platforms on their love for Bad Bunny's music were walking through rooms dedicated to songs that had become the soundtrack of their lives and breaking down in ways they didn't plan for. There is something deeply human about encountering art in a physical space that you have only ever known through speakers and headphones. When you can stand inside it, when the imagery surrounds you, when the sound design pulls you in from every direction, something shifts, something cracks open. Now, here is where it gets even interesting. This experience did not start in São Paulo. Spotify had already brought Puerto Rico Mundo to life in Mexico, in Colombia, before it landed in Brazil, and each time, in each country, across different cultures, in different cities, with different histories and different relationships to Latin music, the response was the same. People lost their minds, people cried, people came back for a second visit and brought friends. The fact that this experience resonated so deeply in 3 different countries across Latin America says something important about the conversation Bad Bunny is leading right now. He is not just an artist who makes hits, he is a cultural anchor, a figure who makes people in places far from Puerto Rico feel seen and connected and part of something larger than their individual lives. And Spotify understood that. They built an experience that honored the depth of what this album represents, rather than just capitalizing on the artist's fame. There is a difference between those two things, and people can feel it immediately. You can always tell when a brand activation is just trying to grab attention versus when it's genuinely trying to serve the art and the audience. This one served both. The way each room connected to specific themes in the album, the way the visual language matched the emotional tone of each track, the way nothing felt random or thrown together, all of that communicated respect. Respect for the music, respect for the fans, respect for what Puerto Rican culture means to the people who carry it and to the people who love it from a distance. By the time the actual concerts happened, the crowd was already vibrating at a frequency that most shows never reach. The immersive experience had done something that set lists and stage production alone cannot do. It had created context. It had given people a deeper relationship with the music before the artist even walked out. So when Bad Bunny appeared and the first beat dropped, it was not just a concert starting, it was a culmination. It was every feeling those fans had carried into that space over the weekend finally finding its release. 2 nights of performances that São Paulo will hold on to for years, because they were not just events, they were experiences in the truest sense of the word. People streamed out of those concerts still buzzing, still in it, still not ready to come all the way back to regular life. That is the mark of something that worked on every level. The music worked, the production worked, the immersive experience worked, the cultural moment worked. And Bad Bunny himself, who has never once compromised who he is for the sake of broader appeal, who has consistently shown up as exactly himself and dared the world to keep up, delivered exactly what his audience needed, not what was expected, not what was safe, what was real. That is why this weekend in São Paulo mattered beyond the headlines and the streaming numbers and the social media reach, because it demonstrated what happens when an artist is completely committed to their truth, when a platform takes that truth seriously enough to build something worthy of it, and when an audience is ready and hungry and waiting to be invited into something that actually means something. De Puerto Rico pa'l Mundo was not just a tagline printed on a banner in a venue hallway, it was a statement, a declaration that the music, the culture, the identity, and the pride that this man carries with him from that island are not regional curiosities, they are world-shaping forces. And São Paulo, for one extraordinary weekend, was the place where the whole world got to feel that truth with every single one of its senses. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.